Hey, it is your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here today. We're zooming in and focusing in on a covert narcissist communication style, and that is one to prevaricate, to speak in a very indirect, evasive manner, to not really be all present, to not really be communicating in a forthright, transparent manner. Transparent means basically to not be withholding or hiding anything. Someone who is transparent is all the way there. They are generally spontaneous. They're able to speak and be authentic, genuine, be themselves. Just speak from their heart, speak from their mind. They don't have to divvy up or micro manage their thoughts, where they're wondering if what they're saying is going to reveal too much about themselves, or be overly supportive of another, where they put themselves down. They're not overly sensitive to that. Now, someone who is a covert narcissist has very sort of subtle, not detectable to the eye, sort of self-absorption communication style, and that is to be indirect, to be evasive, to be cunning in this manner. In other words, to kind of glide through, be non-confrontational, be very sort of passive-aggressive, meaning it's really not a neglect or abuse by outright abuse, like slapping, hurting, things of that nature outright, which you can basically, see their action, put a finger on it, and then see a physical wound, or, words that are said that could be hurtful, or something of that nature. It's more by an abuse of withholding, a neglect by withholding, of being indirect, of being, kind of just a sliver of communication, only a little flash of information, but it's oftentimes of a conciliatory nature. In other words, not giving you the whole scoop, not giving you the whole 9 yards, not giving you complete information. And so this can be very divisive and can create a large rift or divide in the relationship, because you have a feeling that you're not being recognized, you're not being acknowledged, you're not being validated, you're not being communicated to in the way that you deserve to be communicated to. You're not being treated in the way that you deserve. You deserve better than that. You deserve open, honest, forthright, and transparent communication. Now, not everybody is perfect. Of course. I mean, people, get busy, they're not able to call, things of that nature. We see all this. This is just the whole gamut of, of life today. However, with a covert narcissist, you're going to see an ongoing chronic pattern of this. So not something that just lasts a weekend, something that just lasts a week or 2 weeks. We're talking about, years, months, decades of this sort of evasive, indirect communication, which is cunning and really distinguished by prevaricating, which basically I think of it just kind of like a car that's like just trying to get into motion. It's just kind of, it's trying to chug, but it doesn't really go. If I think of like the energy behind it, it's just kind of like it's not firing on all cinders. It's not just the communication is not strong, forthright, clear. And really, what's hurtful is that you don't really know what this person is planning, thinking, feeling, or behaving, or doing kind of underneath the surface. So this is when you see, the shocking behavior where all of a sudden the mask drops, they can't hide it anymore. Their conciliatory tactics are no longer working. And then they say something that's really out of character, off the cuff, yet this is this person's true character, who you never knew, you never met, you never consulted, you never had discourse with, you never knew that they had these feelings, these opinions, these wishes. They've kept it so under wraps, so concealed, and they've been so indirect for so many years that you didn't know that they were planning this. I mean, this is when we see the bank accounts where you don't have access, or they won't confide in you basic, normal information if you're a spouse. Things like plans for the future, plans for retirement, plans for how to raise the family at all different levels and stages of your relationship. So this indirect communication, it is what is so difficult, because you can't always put a finger on it. You can't always say, that hurt me. that what you said hurt me. It's, maybe what you haven't said or haven't done or kind of wimped out or not been able to communicate, be, do, or have with me that has been so hurtful. And it can oftentimes lead to a lot of underdevelopment or undercommunication, and your talents or your communication, your voice is not able to be heard. So these are the people who feel unacknowledged. I feel I'm invisible. Perhaps there is something wrong with me inherently, intrinsically. And then, with life, if you don't communicate, if you don't stand up for yourself, if you don't kind of know how to protect your boundaries and know that you're worthy of protecting yourself, in other words, to have these boundaries, to identify it and not to take it, not to tolerate it, not to tolerate this indirect waffling behavior, not to tolerate this prevaricating sort of relationship where the person is not communicating. So, because if you tolerate it, you're allowing it to happen, and then through time, you're allowing this neglect, this abuse, this emotional wound to become very deep and profound, and creates this very uncomfortable feeling and the low self-esteem. I'm not good enough. What do we have together? Or the sort of questions, the surprises. Why aren't we traveling? Why didn't you let me know about this? I mean, it always puts you on the defensive, where basically you're constantly going to have your emotional dukes up to try to, battle it out of them. So it creates a lot of excessive responsibility on the other individual in the relationship to try to figure out what is going on. Where do we stand? You have to, it's like, people say it's like pulling teeth, you're trying to get them to open up. And a lot of people get, emotionally exhausted because they just don't have the tools, or they've tolerated it for so long that they, it becomes just a numbed out, a doldrum sort of experience. So, this can be a real issue. And so if you haven't encountered this, oftentimes this person is going to continue on this path until perhaps later in life, when they suffer a health issue, something happens, and then then they kind of like need you, or something occurs life-changing. But if this has occurred, realize that this is a very solid relationship communication tactic or trait of a covert narcissist, and you need to know how to speak up and sort of carefront this, and and just say, this is not enjoyable, this lack of communication. This is not forthright and honest, this lack of communication. We need to handle this, or I'm going to handle this. So take responsibility into your own hands. You can't wait for a covert narcissist to speak up and do it. Chances are, if it's been, months, years, decades, and they haven't done it, and you can't really kind of get them motivated, or they're not intrinsically inspired, where kind of they own, what they're doing. I mean, you can't, just be pulling this around as like a dead weight in the relationship. Definitely communicate to them that enough is enough. You need to make some decisions. You need to make some choices. You need to take some action. And, you would like for them to join you. If they can't, then you're going to need to make these decisions on your own. Be able to communicate, stand up for yourself, declare your limits, declare your boundaries. If they can be responsive and meet you there, great. If not, well, then you've got some issues to contemplate and decisions regarding the road ahead and what you really need, require, want, and deserve in your life, especially from an intimate relationship or a family member. It is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today, and I hope that these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe. It's for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.